What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Templar RDA. So the random question of the day is, what is the stupidest thing you've ever done just because someone dared you to do it? Now, I want to hear from you guys right down there in the comments box below. I'm going to have to go with the cinnamon challenge just because it sounded logical in my head that I could do it, but at the end of the day, yeah, it didn't turn out so great. I feel like there's some footage of my attempt out there somewhere, but I really do hope that everyone forgot about it and it's been buried in a box 50 feet below the earth. But with that, I want to hear from you guys right down there in the comments box. What is the stupidest thing you've ever done just because someone dared you to do it? So last week's Review Q Tuesday poll went down to the wire. It was this close at the end there. The Augvape V versus the Templar RDA, and obviously the Augvape V won. So I did that video last week, and now I felt it really unnecessary to do another poll just so I could show you guys this Templar RDA here. With a big shout out and thank you going to Augvape for sending this one my way for the purpose of making this video. I do have to say that I've been loving testing this thing out. It's been living on my squonkers for weeks now, and it's one of my new favorite flavor RDAs. So taking a look online, this device comes in 3 different colors for you to choose from. You have a matte black version like I have here. You have a stainless steel version and a blue version as well, and it's only going to run you 30 bucks, which I think is a really good deal. Definitely for the quality of the machining on this thing, it's absolutely worth 30 bucks in my opinion. So if you want to take a look at one of these devices for yourself, I'll leave a link right down there in the description below. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive down to the close-up view and take a better look at this thing. Alright guys, so as you can see, we've got the Templar in its original packaging here, so let's just quickly take a look around and then we'll talk about what's inside. So first and foremost, Augvape logo right there on the top of this little tube thing they got going on, which is kind of neat. We've got this little Mayan sort of decoration going on around the top rim there. We have the color indication, which this one is black, as you can see. Templar RDA with a little bit of information there, so you can follow them on their various different social media platforms. Scratch-off authentication right there on the side. A few little warnings and stuff like that on this side here, and on the bottom you have nothing. So let's just go ahead and pop the top here real quick. Roop, like that. Well, of course, we have the Templar RDA. There you go. You can see it comes with this nice little augtem tip there. And we'll take a look at that in just a second here. We have got this little kind of piece of foam that we can take out. And the obligatory bag of parts. Oh, let's take a look at the bag of parts. We have, looks like a 510 drip tip adapter, a set of O-rings, and a flat pin if you wanted to use that instead of the squonking pin. And then you get this little clear cap. So you get 2 different caps with this. This one is full clear, probably acrylic or something similar. We have kind of a snake bite design going on, so it totally changes the airflow, and it has like this sort of conical shape up top here, which is kind of funky. Feels a little bit on the thinner and cheaper side, so I personally don't think I'll be using this. However, it's kind of nifty if you're into that sort of thing. So there's a good look at that cap, as you can see. And that is it. There's nothing else in the package here. There's no instructions, not that it's really necessary for an RDA, but there you go. Alright guys, let's talk about the specs. First of all, it's 24 millimeters in diameter. It has a 2-post build deck with velocity clamp snag system, 24 karat gold plated deck, peak insulators, 4 millimeter deep juice well, adjustable dual air slots with 3 millimeter by 1 millimeter long air slots and 2 millimeter by 1 millimeter short air slots, adjusted via the top cap. Frosted top cap redirects airflow, which has 3 millimeter by 2 millimeter air slots, rounded internal top cap, smooth vapor delivery, 24 karat gold plated 510 connection, 304 stainless steel construction. It's 810 drip tip compatible as well as 510 drip tip compatible using the included adapter. Alright guys, I'm just going to show you the parts and pieces to the Templar RDA and just go over it from top to bottom as we normally do. Starting off with the drip tip up top here, it comes with this augtem drip tip, as you can see. Personally, not a huge fan of augtem, but for those of you that are, this should be quite sufficient. As you can see, nice and wide bore down the middle there. Really no complaints about this particular tip, although I'm just not a fan of the color of augtem. So there you go, just a little friction fit tip for you. We also have the tester tip here. This is a Dead Rabbit 810 tip, and we're just going to pop it into place real quick just to show, there you go, that it is compatible with all of your favorite 810 drip tips, as you can see there. and it is held in securely by the single O-ring in the inside rim of this top cap section here. Speaking of top cap, we have the AFC of the top cap right here, and as you can see, engraved with Templar right there, held on by a single O-ring. Never had any issues with that whatsoever. Fairly simplistic airflow system, 1 line, 2 line, or 3 lines of airflow open, and that's pretty much it. So very basic stuff there. A little bit of a kind of notch cut out on either side here, and it does make it a little bit easier to grip onto, which is kind of a nice touch there. Hopefully you guys can see this, but the top section of this piece is domed, which is really great for flavor in my opinion. I feel like atomizers that have a nice curve at the top section are just really great for flavor. Here we have the barrel section, and as you can see, it's got another engraving on it. These are CNC engravings, which are really nice because it just gives you that little tiny bit of depth to it, and it's a little bit more noticeable. On the side here, you can see the airflow, and it has both long and short holes, so you can close off any combination of these holes that you wish, and that makes for a very nice customizable airflow experience there. Otherwise, not much to speak about on this part here, except for on the inside, you can hopefully see those little registration notches, which are great because they line up with pegs on the deck portion, and it aligns your top cap perfectly every single time. Speaking of the deck, here is the build deck itself with my coils still in it. As you can see, I left them in so you guys can take a look at exactly how I built this thing. Pretty simple build. It's just one main clamp at the top here controlled by this one big screw, so you can fit your coils in, clip off the excess wire, and you're good to go in a matter of a couple of minutes. Also, this is really good for taking your coils out and putting them back in without damaging them, so that's something that's pretty nifty if you like to save your coils. But let's just go ahead and take these coils out real quick so we can show you the rest of the deck. So here's a better look at the build deck itself. As you can see, it's got this one main clamp up at the top here with these 2 little lower post holes. Very easy to fit your bigger, flatter wire in through the bottom there, and then your top lead goes into the top section of the clamp, and then everything gets tightened down with this one main Phillips headed screw. So pretty basic. It makes for a really fun building experience, very easy as well for beginners. However, the deck itself is a little bit on the cramped side, so you're not going to fit your 8 wraps or 9 wraps or anything like that in here. Just basically 4 to 5, maybe 6 wraps tops, I'd say, on this one. But otherwise, very, very cool, funky looking build deck. Definitely a lot of fun to build on, and it's a spring-loaded clamp, so it's a little bit on the easier side for, you know, if you have trouble with that sort of thing. On the bottom part here, we have 2 little O-rings that hold the cap in place. Never had any issues with those whatsoever. We also have the little peg section that aligns with the notch cut out in the cap, and that actually holds the cap in place, which is great. Love that feature as well. And on the bottom here, we can see the engravings and the gold-plated 510 connection. All right, so that was a close-up look at the Templar RDA. Let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this thing, and we'll talk about it some more. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the close-up section of the video. Now let's talk about my personal thoughts about this device, some pros, some cons, and whether or not it's worth purchasing. Starting off with the pros, and my first pro is that it's a great little flavor RDA. This thing has been amazing for flavor for the past few weeks that I've been testing it, and I feel like it has to do with the slightly reduced chamber. The chamber on this thing is on the smaller side, as well as the airflow. It has a little bit of restriction going on, and I feel like that definitely enhances the flavor in my opinion, and just overall, it's really, really good for flavor. My second pro for this one is that it's a fantastic squonking RDA. I've been using it exclusively as a squonk RDA since I got it, and I have been loving it because when you give your bottle a good squeeze, it fills up that chamber with juice and your cotton soaks it up really nicely. Then when your bottle expands, it sucks all that juice right back down into itself because the squonk hole is all the way at the bottom of the chamber. So with that, I've been loving this thing as a squonk RDA, and I will continue to do so. My third pro for this one is that it's super easy to build. Now, one thing I really like about this one is the fact that you're not crossing over wires, so it's not super complicated and you're not having to struggle with the posts or anything. You can just install a set of coils, trim off your excess wire, have it all tuned and wicked in a matter of a couple of minutes, and you're ready to go and vape. And this is going to be great for the beginner builder all the way up to the advanced builder. And my fourth and final pro are the tabs on the deck that keep your airflow nice and aligned with your coils. It just locks really nicely into place. It feels very secure. Not only does it help when you go to take the RDA off of your device, but it also aligns that airflow dead center onto your coils every single time. Really, really nice and convenient, just because you can just kind of place your cap and spin it until it locks down into place and you're ready to go. All right, guys, so moving on to the cons. My first con is that it does have the potential to have uneven pressure on the top block. Now, it only has one screw going into the top section there, and with that, I had to really crank down hard on it in order to get my coils to stay in place. When I was moving the coils away from the block, just so I didn't have a short, I had a little bit of an issue there. One of my coils kept moving, and I really just had to crank that thing down in order to get it to stay in place. My second con for this one is the actual main screw itself. It's not really the most high-quality screw I've ever used, and with that, I could tell they really tried to make a good quality screw with this one here. It has a nice big slot for flat heads and a somewhat deep slot for Phillips heads, but no matter which tool I used, I just really could not get a good grip on that screw, and I had to kind of slip it a little bit, and it just kind of damaged it the first time I built on this thing. And my third and final con for this device is that I believe it could use a tiny bit more airflow. Now, obviously that is subjective, and I feel like they were going more for a flavor RDA rather than a cloud RDA, so you're not going to use this thing at 150 or 200 watts or anything. However, just that little tiny bit more airflow would really help my situation, just because the set of coils that I have in there right now could use a tiny bit more power, and it just feels like it's not living up to its fullest potential. So at the end of the day, is this device worth purchasing? Would I go out of my way to pick one of these up if I didn't get this one in for review? I'm going to say yes to this one. This is a really great flavor RDA, and it's only 30 bucks, so it's definitely a good deal there. And with this one, it might not be my top favorite flavor RDA of 2018, but it's pretty darn close. However, there's a lot of competition nowadays in that field, so obviously I might have to do a follow-up video with this one versus some of the other favorites of mine. But with that, if you guys want to grab one of these for yourself, I'll leave a link right down there in the description below. So that about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Don't forget to click that notification bell right next to the subscribe button if you want to be alerted whenever I upload videos. Also, leave me some comments in the box below. I'd love to hear your thoughts all about the Templar RDA or anything else you guys want to discuss down there. Make sure you check out the advocacy and my social media links right down there in the description below. Also, make sure you guys get your FDA comments in. I'll leave a link for that right down there as well. We only have a few more weeks, guys, so keep pushing hard for that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, vape on. Today we're gonna be